Gavin, are you ready?
I am ready, Nick.
Let's do this. We got Colm. Gavin here, all the way from Dublin, Ireland. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, Nick. Doing good. How's everything with you?
I'm fantastic. Just cruising down with you in Dublin. Colm, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your musical inspirations, and really how you got started in music.
So, my name's Colm Gavin. I suppose my introduction to music, apart from all of the typical things, when people, the obvious answer is always, I remember when I found the music of Bob Dylan. That was really what woke me up to wanting to be a singer-songwriter. But I think more than ever, and now I've been thinking about this a lot lately, is that my first real introduction to my love of music came from my music teacher, Peter Stanton. And he was every bit the Renaissance character that you could imagine. He had, the blue corduroy trousers with the perfect seam and a gentleman's burgundy shoe, the United Colours of Benetton off beige jumper with the collar, and the Burt Reynolds mustache. And he was just a fascinating character. And I studied in the Clondalkin School of Music, and it was a fascinating place, a very old world. And when you walked in this narrow stairway up the stairs, there were chimes that greeted you to begin with, and there was a combination of smells between, he would burn essential lemon and lavender oils, and there would be a sweet Afton cigarette sitting in an ashtray in the room at the top of the stairs. And the place, I studied with Peter Stanton for 17 years, and he was a wonderful teacher. Loved the music of Brahms and Chopin, and also contemporary country music. I mean, he introduced me to Lowell George, Little Feat, the Allman Brothers, early Elton John records, Lynyrd Skynyrd. Every year we had fabulous annual concerts for the School of Music, and the place was just alight with melody and harmony, and he became one of my best friends. Now, tragically, he passed away in early February of this year, but when I think of music and my roots in music and what gave me the gra, as we'd say, for music, I can only think of him, and I'm hugely indebted to him. I love him, I miss him, what a wonderful man. And even when I find myself composing today, and I start to find myself in a melodic sequence, I can hear the nod over my shoulder saying, that's not a bad one. So that's probably my introduction.
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, I can tell you are my friend, you have a deep, deep soul. It's very rich to, I sent me an email, and I'm glad that we were able to reconnect doing these new episodes, but just, doing a bit of research, and a lot of the episodes that you're doing, you're doing a lot of lives regarding social media. I see that you're doing some with North America and Canada, but a lot of Irish. But you're a love for a beautiful song in terms of songwriter, and you are a songwriter. I can tell from every lyric that you've written. I just wanted to tell our audience, mostly who are American, and we are familiar with Irish writers like James Joyce and Oscar Wilde, but as an Irish songwriter, you have some famous ones. But it all really, I feel like I've done some history with Irish history music. It started with sean-nós, and if you can explain a little bit to our audience what that is and how important that is to Irish culture and singing.
Well, the words sean-nós, sean meaning old and nós meaning style in Gaeilge, Oscail, which is the Irish language. And sean-nós, for me, the heritage of it would come from people like Joe Heaney, who was a man from Connemara. And there are songs, traditionally in sean-nós singing, you would only sing Oscailge, you wouldn't sing Osferla, which is in English. But Joe sort of brought those two worlds together.
And on our feet we're sighing the wall, carve our sea with a young bone of that. Concerning the volleyball
sing songs like The Rocks of Bawn or At the Half Door and things like that. And Joe Heaney was a man who really, in the latter days of his life, had to eke out a living any way he possibly could. I know he was a doorman for a period of time in the United States, but he would have put a foot in the door for people like the Furies, the Clancy brothers, and opened up doors for them in the United States that otherwise they probably wouldn't have had. But specifically about the style of sean-nós singing, there are a lot of accoutrements that come with performing sean-nós music. So in some cases, you'll see older men put their hand up to their ear and cover one ear, which effectively what you're doing is, today we have in-ear monitors. So you're muting one ear to hear yourself better in your own head, but also you might see them hold hands with somebody else at a bar, and that's kind of like the beam of support when you're singing a sean-nós piece. But with sean-nós singing, there's no real meter. It's kind of a lilt. There's another thing we have in Ireland called lilting, which is very common in the west of Ireland, where it's literally them going, and that's what they'll do. It's usually accompanied with another vocalist doing either something that's counterpoint to that or the same. But with sean-nós singing, it's a fabulous tradition, and it isn't as common in Dublin, but certainly in the west of Ireland. My grandparents, Jimmy and Anne Gavin, come from West Clare, and I remember as a boy being brought to these, a small ramshackle pub, or at least what it felt like to me in West Clare, and to hear people singing songs like The Rocks of Bawn, like My Burren Home of Clare, or the Hills of Donegal, a fabulous tradition of music that I was very lucky to be, I won't say immersed in as a child, but I was certainly exposed to it, and that does have a lasting effect, I think.
It's so interesting. I find it extremely beautiful. I mean, being that it's typically a man and singing that particular style, but being that it is from West Ireland, but just something that I had never heard before, and that it is in its, in a whole nother language. I just found it beautiful. So thank you very much for explaining what that was, but how important that is to really Irish culture, singing in their history. I know that you being a songwriter, I wanted to ask you, just in terms of being a songwriter, how do you get inspirations for some of the, listening to this, hopefully we get to plug this later, your new song. Some of the lyrics are just so deep and I would say gorgeous, but how do you come up with a lot of this stuff, these lyrics? I'm not a songwriter, so I'm so intrigued. In
a lot of cases, Nick, I would tend to write from the perspective of character. So syntax plays a big role when it comes to writing the songs. With an example like Since Baby Went Away or Your Little Corner of the Moon, with Your Little Corner of the Moon, it opens up, if there are 7 wonders in this world, then you must be the 8th. She said, I only ordered rice, now it seems there's cheese here on my plate. I said, I guess that's not the kind of thing you'd hear on a first date, but if I didn't say it now, I never will. You can hear, certainly I can hear, the interplay between the two people. This is a guy who is a little bit down on his luck and he's trying to win over the girl, and as the sequence unfolds, you begin at that point and say, well, where would this naturally go? And the melodic aspect or harmonic aspect that accompanies it is, as long as it's sensitive to whatever the narrative is, in my opinion, it's whatever fits best is the most appropriate, or the Allen Ginsberg approach of first thought, best thought.
Yeah, well, you're very talented, my friend, and I cannot wait. If we get an opportunity, I don't know, depending on, I guess, how you do in the lightning round, but is to share one of your beautiful songs. So, Colm, if you don't mind, I think it's time. I have to pull the white lightning over for the lightning round.
Sounds great.
Okay, well, hey, let's do this. I'm going to pull over now. We have just before we get into local businesses, we have a new website, bandwagontv.com. If anybody has a chance, please check it out. Please look for it. And our first business that we're promoting is Young's Barbecue and More. They've had just a tragic story that happened in March, but in terms of resilient, a family that has just won't stop. It's a beautiful story, and if you have an opportunity, please check out the story and their website. And if you're in the Hill Country, they have great barbecue. Colm, if you don't mind, is there a local business that you want to plug today?
I think throughout the whole of the lockdown in Ireland, specifically in Dublin and Clondalkin Village, where I'm from, there's a sort of restaurant cum cafe called the East Village, and they're just the most wonderful people. They have 2 premises in Clondalkin, and the one which is sort of central to Clondalkin Village is at East Village at the Tower, and there are these beautiful gardens behind the cafe itself. A gorgeous place to go for a bite to eat, beautiful coffee, wonderful surroundings, and just supremely nice people too. So I'd love to give them a bit of a plug today.
We'll also plug them on their social media and their website, so thank you very much for that. Well, here we are. It's the lightning round, and I have to ask, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, let's do this. All right, you're obviously a very talented man, and I have to ask you this. We are walking in Temple Bar. We walk into a pub, and I'm with you, and I'm feeling great because I'm with like a local celebrity here. But there is a piano and there is a guitar, and everybody's clapping, wanting you to play one of them. Which one are you playing for us tonight?
It's got to be the piano every single time.
I was hoping you were going to say that. Does that happen? Has that ever happened to you before?
There's been some instances, like there's a few piano bars around Dublin that I used to play residencies in, which today, if I was meeting up with friends for a drink, I probably wouldn't go, because I know at some point I might be dragged up to sing a few songs. But there's something rich about the piano. No, I mean, I love the guitar, and the guitar is my first instrument, but I love that idea of a smoky bar room, 3 o'clock in the morning, and somebody playing Brian Wilson tunes or Tom Waits tunes. There's something really captivating about that.
So we're at the same pub. I owe you a drink, because you've just now got the whole pub, just all the patrons, we're all rallying up. Are we ordering you a Guinness or a Jameson?
Oh, it's a Guinness every time.
Good man, all right. Okay, your influences, just folklore, the folk being that your words just mean so much. I have to ask you this. Jim Croce or Van Morrison?
Oh, Jim Croce, one of my first musical loves. And I spoke about Peter Stanton earlier on, and I remember the first time I heard Time in a Bottle.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Peter played
song.
that for me, showed me those opening chromatic D minor climbing chords, and I was just captivated from the word go. So Jim Croce, definitely.
Yeah, it's I wasn't sure. I thought maybe you'd stick local, I guess native Van Morrison, but yeah, Jim Croce, just we love him here in America. So, well, we love them both. Okay, here we go. Now we are taking this road trip. We're in our truck here. I have to ask for your co-pilot, dead or alive. Which musician would you like to have as your co-pilot?
It would have to be Frank Zappa, because I've been fascinated by his music since I was in my very early teens, and to talk about his days in the utility muffin research kitchen would be, what better co-pilot could you ask for apart from yourself, Nick?
Oh, well, thank you very much. But I take the back seat in all of this. It's usually me in the back seat or in the bed of the truck, and you two can get sharing some great stories with Frank Zappa. I mean, my God, it's endless, I'm sure. We're on the same road trip. Now Frank is actually going through your phone for a song, a playlist to embarrass you. Is there a song that you can share, or a singer that would surprise us at all?
I have a real penchant for show tunes, so people like Neil Sedaka, maybe Liberace, or anything by Leonard Bernstein. Now that's not guilty pleasure for me, but I suppose in the company of the great Frank Zappa, that might seem a little bit unusual, but I think so, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, you got show tunes. That's great. That'll keep us all entertained, especially me being in the back. All right, you did great. We want to know from you. 2021 is going to be, I feel like, and we're only in the middle of it, but going to be a great year for a lot of people like yourself, musicians that are just now finally being able to do a lot of other things. If you don't mind, please share what you have coming up in this year and in next.
So on the 10th of July, and this is something that American audiences can tune into as well, I've recorded a very special performance in Ireland's biggest fully seated theatre. It's called the Bord Gosh Energy Theatre. It usually seats about 2,500. We would have put the performance on live in front of people, but unfortunately because of pandemic restrictions, we couldn't. But it's been pre-recorded, and it is called the Superior Session. It's myself and a number of other amazing artists, all on a concert grand Rick Mueller piano, and that performance will air on July the 10th, and you can buy tickets anywhere in the world. There's links all over my social media page and on Thornton Piano, their music page. You can find the link to buy a ticket there too. So I would, on July the 10th, I'd highly recommend people check that out. At the end of July, I've got my EP, the 1992 tapes, which is coming out on BO Records. That's 5 original songs, all just myself and the piano, which is kind of the slow to mid-tempo phase that I'm going through at the moment. That'll come out on BO Records at the end of July, early August, I would say. So there's plenty going on, and if you check me out on Colm Gavin Music on Facebook or Colm Gavin on Instagram, that's usually the best way to keep up to speed with things.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I saw that with 1992. And so when did you start writing the songs for the EP?
With a lot of what I do, Nick, sometimes it'll be, out of the 5 songs, there might be 2 that were written 3 or 4 years ago, and the others might have been written last week. It's just a question of what fits the collective narrative of the record best. And with these songs, I love the idea of just rocking up to the piano, knocking out 4 or 5 songs and releasing them to the public just as quick. So it's like I said, it'll be released with BO Records, which is my record label, which is the home to Moya Brennan, who's the first lady of Celtic music. And it'll be on all the typical platforms: Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Deezer, Pandora. So yeah, end of July, early August.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Colm. Seriously, from all of us here in America, but unfortunately, like I tell a lot of people, my visa is for so long, and I can only hang on the opposite side of the wheel here. So we have to kick you out, and we hate to do so, but all we ask is for a song. And I'm hoping that you say a song in particular, but we'll leave it at your choice. What song are you playing for us today?
I think the one that you might like me to do is a song called My Love is Like a Rare Singing Bird. And I wrote the lyrics to this with another wonderful Irish songwriter, Lisa Gary, who's well worth checking out. This song, I call it a toe-tapping lament, so I think you'll enjoy this one.
Go ahead whenever you're ready.
My love is like a rare singing bird that captivates the emerald trees. His song excites your very heart's delight, and it carries on a brittle breeze to try to tame my true love now would only be in vain. Still he comes as bold as Solomon's son and leaves like morning rain. The moon will rise sure as the night will fall. Roving eyes, didn't we have it all? Prairie rose trickling down the wall, meet you behind the wall, anytime at all. My love is like a rare singing bird whose only notion is of me, until the dawn blares up a rousing call, the likes of which would not repeat, to try to tame her wildness now would only be in vain. So I let her go as the sun hides low, till her song finds me again. The moon will rise sure as the night will fall. Roving eyes, didn't we have it all? Prairie rose trickling down the wall, I'll meet you behind the wall, anytime at all. Fading plume of deep maroon, your eyes set every afternoon ablaze, and I prop my bright tomorrows with a trellis that I borrowed from a footnote in a book called Yesterday. And forgive me if I seem aloof, I'll bide my time till I have proof that someone won't just take it all away. The moon will rise sure as the night will fall. Roving eyes, didn't we have it all? Prairie rose trickling down the wall, I'll meet you behind the wall, anytime at all.
Colm, that was fantastic. What a beautiful song. A lot of people will really appreciate. So thank you so much for sharing that. Unfortunately, we do have to let you go, but was there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
You know, Nick, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's been great to be on the show. And I feel like I've even learned a little bit more about barbecue too as well. So that's always a bonus. But no, there's a lot of, the month of June into July, I'll be the featured artist in Lazy Indie Music Magazine, which is in Bangalore, India. That's my first venture into the Indian music scene. And also Country Music Express UK are doing a feature on the 1992 tapes this summer as well. So if you could keep your eyes peeled for that, that'd be great.
I definitely will. With the Indian market and as well as the country market in the UK, just a huge door right there. So I'm so glad that that's the space that you're entering. That is very exciting. And I'm hoping that one day you are coming out here so we can take you to the Young's Barbecue and More, because you have to try, which is a little unconventional, but the brisket and the pulled pork burrito is something that will leave your mouth watering and wanting more.
Nick, let me tell you, there are so many American things like brisket, like graham crackers, like Tootsie Rolls that I've never had. So maybe one day when we do, when I make it to your shores, you can introduce me to all these things.
You can have as many, what was it, the Tootsie Rolls as you want, my friend. You can have all mine too. But the brisket, we might get in a fist fight because, man, it is so good. But all right, Colm, it was fantastic. Thank you again for showing us around Dublin and your hometown, and obviously your beautiful song. So everybody, keep track of Colm. He's going to be doing some big things here in the future.
Thank you, Nick.
This could be our lucky day. Oh yeah, you might take a picture, love, 'cause this could be our lucky day.